Welcome to the All About Me for Amari Howard. I was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri to two very young parents. Johnny is my daddy, there he is, and Yukati is my mama. I have two younger siblings, one sister, Alexandria, who's just 2 years younger than me, and then Rio, who's 6 years younger than I am. These are my paternal grandparents, John and Barbara Howard, and they played a big influence on me. And when my parents got divorced, we moved in and lived in their house with my dad. And my grandmother was an English educator, and my grandfather really valued education. So I grew up in a home where education was seen as something that was extremely important. This is my maternal grandmother, Hatsuko. She's from Okinawa, Japan originally. And education was very important to her because of her culture. And after my mom died when I was 14, she really began to really drive us to make sure we would leave a legacy that she knew my mom would be proud of. The rest of this video will go in a chronological order, but now that we're on the topic of family, I'll introduce you to mine. This is the man Aaron I met in 2011, fell in love with, and then married in 2012. Wasn't long after that, I was pregnant, and then we had our little son Aiden on February 21st, 2013. I went to Kevin Elementary School, then Kirby Junior High, which is now called Hazelwood East Middle, and then Hazelwood East High School. As you can see from this chart, my school was largely African American with very little diversity, with a high number of students on free and reduced lunch, and we were considered a Title I school. Went on to attend Missouri State University, where I started off as an education major but switched to communication. During my time in college, I worked at before and after school programs in underprivileged Title I schools, and I really did find during that time that I really enjoyed working with these kids, and I really began to second guess my decision to switch my major. But by that point, I was already more than halfway done with my work, so I stuck with it. After college, I moved to Houston and was employed at a mattress firm selling mattresses. And even though it may sound and may look like it was a lot of fun, I really was disenchanted and I did not enjoy my job and I missed working with kids. I was looking for a way back into education and I stumbled upon the program Teach for America, and I really became interested in the ideas that they promoted about reaching out and making a difference in education and closing the educational gap. I also became inspired by programs like the KIPP schools and the Yes Prep schools because they were trying to do something different in education. But I didn't have a way into these programs, and so I ended up getting another job in the corporate sector working for a branch of United Healthcare, United Behavioral Health, and I began to be even more disappointed with my experience with corporate America. Then I learned about the Region 4 program that would allow me to get my alternative certification. So I started to take those courses and I was moving along in that program when I ended up getting laid off from my job at UBH. So then I had the plan of proceeding with my alternative certification and doing student teaching with Aldine Independent School District, and I was set to get started this September in a 5th grade English Language Arts classroom. My son Aiden was diagnosed with a really rare disorder called Langerhans cell histiocytosis, and he's had to have a bunch of surgeries and is undergoing chemo treatment. So I'm not going to be able to do my student teaching directly at this moment because I need to really focus on taking care of my son, and I have to put my professional career on hold for now. I don't have a lick of classroom experience, so it's hard for me to really speak on what strategies work best in classrooms, but I can tell you through my reading and also through my personal experience as a child in that kind of environment, the teachers that stood out the best and were the most effective were those that had a passion for their subject and a passion for the students, and they cared more about just the grades that we got, but actually cared about our success and pushed us to achieve further than what society expected of us. Being a mother also changes my perspective. I have to make a difference so that my son goes to better schools in better districts than I had the opportunity to.